25th, 2023. It is 6:33 p.m. This meeting is being broadcast on Channel 22 as well as being live streamed on the Monomoy Regional School District YouTube channel. I'll call the meeting to order. All in favor?
Oh, we don't have to.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. This is my favorite meeting of the school year because I actually get to open the meeting and for a brief moment in time feel like I have something important to do. But it's the annual time when the chair and vice chair for the school district are determined or voted upon by the members. The way our regional agreement reads is that the chair and vice chair alternate each year between Harwich and Chatham. This past year, Jackie Zebrat Long had been the chair of the school committee, so we would be looking for nominations for a chair for this upcoming year from Harwich. Ms. Long.
I'd like to nominate Ms. Meredith Henderson for chair of the school committee.
I would second that.
So we have a nomination and a second. Are there other nominations? Well, I guess I'll open it for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous, and my work here is done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. So now I will look for a nomination for vice chair. Ms. Games?
I would like to nominate Betty Gray as vice chair.
Second?
Okay, we have a second. Any other?
Betty.
All right, moving on to welcome Sammy Good for, I think, the last time as our student representative.
I always forget, is it the small one?
Um,
I think both, actually.
Both?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
One does a round, and then the other one does the, I don't know.
Hi, everyone. First off, congratulations to both of you. Second, this is my last meeting, so I wanted to start by saying thank you to all of you for giving me this opportunity, and I really enjoyed meeting all of you. First off, the seniors took their class trip to DC last weekend, where we didn't spend much time in DC, but we did spend a lot of time at Six Flags. But with graduation coming up next weekend, I did want to take a minute on behalf of the class to thank all of the teachers and staff who helped us through the last 4 years. I know I at least wouldn't be here without their support and guidance. Next, there's been a lot of fundraising happening lately. A couple of weeks ago, a few Monomoy students put on a charity 5K in Hyannis. As part of their internship, seniors Colin Moore, Max Weinberg, and Anna Bianco teamed up to create their own business called Red Bright Return. And they partnered with Dream Day, which is a local summer camp for families of terminally ill children. And together they hosted a 5K with all the proceedings going to Dream Day Cape Cod. Similarly, the National Honor Society walked in and raised $4,167 for the Suicide Awareness Walk last weekend. It's also been a busy month for the arts. Last weekend was the annual spring concert, and the week before that was Senior Arts Night. The night featured displays from around 30 students across all grades and media types, and many of the same students recently participated in a community event by the National Art Honor Society called The Bridging of the Generation Gap Through Art. And NAHS students went to Maplewood Senior Center in Brewster, and they hosted this collaborative art show to interact with older residents in the community, and it was really nice. And that's it, so thank you all, and have a nice night and nice summer.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks, Sammy. All right, moving on to public comment. Seeing none, we will continue to move on to the approval of two different sets of minutes. So we'll start with approval of the April 27, 2023 meetings minutes.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's so great.
So weird.
Moving on to the May 11th.
To oppose and abstain.
Oh, any
Any opposed?
Any opposed?
Abstention.
Any abstentions?
It's every other meeting for me, so don't
I
worry,
know.
it'll be fine.
I'm a little rusty. Okay, moving on to the May 11th minutes. Looking for a motion.
I move to approve the May 11th minutes as presented in our packet.
I have a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right. Moving on to reports and discussions. First of all, we would like to welcome our newest Monomoy Regional School Committee member, Ryan Clark. Welcome. Very excited to have a new person on our committee.
Russell is too.
Yeah. Would you like to say anything?
I'm just excited to be here.
Good.
Ready to get started. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Next up is Sheila House, the Director of Harwich Youth Services, to present a Monomoy Youth Card.
Good evening.
Where do I go with this?
We have a little reveal, or as they say in the Midwest, a reveal to do tonight of the Monomoy Youth Card. So during the past year, I've been working with students from the high school through my caseload mostly, so I can't name them unfortunately, to develop a resource that is going to make it easier for teens to find information that they need when they're worried about themselves or about their friends. And the resource will also make it easier for them to access information on a variety of topics. So if you look at the front card with the stop sign, this is all phone numbers. So there's Harwich Youth Services, which is local, Bay Cove Mobile Crisis, which is a 24-hour crisis line they can call, suicide hotline, Samaritans, domestic or dating violence, Independence House, Recovery Build, which is a 2-day-a-week free 6-month program for kids that are starting to get worried about their own substance use or they're worried about a friend. Usually when they come into the program, they don't want to be there at all, and then they don't want to leave after 6 months. So it's a really great program. Alcohol and Drug Helpline and Gosnell Treatment Center. And then when you flip it this way, this is all websites along the same line of, you know, all the issues that are on the front. So there's an LGBTQ organization that's national, an anti-abuse network, substance use, teens, drug and alcohol, eating disorders, and then the Harwich Youth and Family Services landline on that. So we're hoping, I had 1,000 of them printed up for grades 8 through 12, and some students have expressed an interest at the middle school level in 7th grade to come up with a more age-appropriate middle school card, you know, for information that they want. This is a little too, I think there's some stuff on it that maybe parents would object to, so my kids don't drink, they're only 12. So, and most of them don't. But so that's going to be in the works in the fall, but we just wanted them to have something that they can, you know, stick in their wallet, their purse, their pocket, and some of them will probably, knowing teens, transfer all this data onto their phones. But, you know, just something, because the main reason it started was that kids were like, I don't know who to call, I don't know how to access information, so this is a way for them to do it. So I'm going to be sending out memos and press releases to the schools so that they can let the parents know about it as well. So, any questions?
I have one question. And
Yes.
It's completely because I don't know the answer, which is why. Does Chatham have a youth services
They are going
department
to.
or program?
They're going to.
We're going to, right?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I would say is when they do, and we've got, you know, all the 1,000 cards are gone.
Yeah.
Maybe some type of collaboration, since it's called a Monomoy Youth Card.
Yep.
That includes Chatham Youth Services as well as the Harwich Youth
Of course,
Services.
yeah, yep.
Because I don't want someone to feel that, like, I'm not from, you know, I don't live in Harwich.
Right,
You know,
right, yep.
and I think sometimes people or kids do think that way.
Yeah.
This is amazing, like, this is, and it's just pocket-sized and, like, I want some to hand out, like, this is incredible.
Here you go.
So when they're, yeah, absolutely, so when
I'm
they're,
going to just leave these right here, so
when they're up and running, if we can incorporate that as well, or somehow,
Yes.
or maybe they'll come up with one for Chatham too, I don't know, but.
Yeah. Now, the as it is right now, the 22 years I've been, at Harwich Youth Services, I'm always referring Chatham, families
Yeah.
and stuff, so they'll get that. But there should, and I expect that the new person that's taking my position will be collaborating heavily with the Chatham person.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Great.
Okay.
That's all I had. Thank you so much. These are amazing.
Anyone else? Ms. Games?
I think this is wonderful. And I guess my question, is there like a digital, I'm just curious, any thoughts? I have no idea with the phones these days with QR codes or anything like that.
I can talk to the guy, the tech designed the card and printed it, and it was not expensive. 1,000 pieces were $200, which I thought was really reasonable. And so I can ask him if it's possible to get, I have the knowledge of my black lab around that stuff, so, but I can ask him, he'd know, so.
Thank you.
Christina?
Hello, Ms. House. It's nice to finally meet you. People talk about you all the time. I'm very excited. I just wanted to say this is perfect. This fits just by carrying all the information that I usually carry for things like GSA, just a bunch of resources in my pocket at all times. It's like this thick. Yeah. So this is perfect. It just fits in a wallet, and I know that's exactly what you wanted. Or in the back of a phone case, like a little photo card. And I just wanted to thank you as well for highlighting LGBTQ voices. That as much as it warms my heart that they are included, it addresses the ever-growing, just how much and how many times, it just addresses how high it's getting and hard it's getting to be an LGBTQ student, and I'm glad that you decided to keep
Absolutely,
us in
yeah.
your mind. Thank you.
Anyone else? Betty?
Again, I'm going to echo everybody. This is phenomenal. I think this is a wonderful resource. I'm wondering how it's getting out to people. So if it's already been done, forgive me,
Yeah.
but is it something that can be just given to all at one time in a way that doesn't make someone feel like someone sees you taking
Right.
it?
I think what I'm going to do is, I have the long box of all of them. I'm going to give it to Jen Police, and David will probably figure out a way to have them get it into their classrooms. And I'm not sure how many of the seniors will want them, but I bet they will anyway, just because there are some national numbers on there. But I'll speak with them if you think that's the way I should go? Okay. All right.
Anything else?
Yeah, so don't give any of these to any kids yet. Only Annalise. All right,
Thank you, Sheila.
Take care.
All right, moving right on to the student trip proposal to Costa Rica with EF Tours in February of 2024 with Mr. Burns.
Good evening. Nice to see everyone again. If you don't know me, my name is Dustin Burns. I'm one of the biology teachers here at Monomoy High School. A couple of years ago, before COVID, we started planning a trip to Costa Rica. The idea was to create something that is centered around science, which we didn't really have before, that supports the science curriculums. It got delayed a couple times. I think you know the history of COVID, but we finally got to go on that trip last year, and it was just absolutely amazing. So that's something we'd like to continue to do. It's a very popular trip, and it's something the students are very excited about, so I'm here to propose another trip over February vacation of next year. So I'll try to keep it brief. I'll just give you the highlights and try to answer all of your questions along the way, give you an idea of what our goals are and what the different things that we'll be doing. So last year we traveled with 26 students. Before COVID we had over 70 enrolled, but then by the time we got to go it was down a little bit from that. So I looked around to different travel companies and got price quotes from different travel companies, and finally landed on EF Tours, which is a travel company that we've used previously. Mr. Smeltzer has used that to go to Italy, with a lot of success in the past and one planned for next year. And I was really able to work with the representative at EF to build a custom itinerary to create as many immersive, interactive activities, science-based, as we could. So it's a completely customized itinerary. We've been working on it for weeks. And the price point that they came up with is below the quotes that I've seen from other companies. So overall, I'm very happy with the product we've created with the itinerary with EF, and we'll just go through some of the highlights with this PowerPoint. This is something that they created, so you might see some language that's from the EF Corporation, and I'll pause on the slides that I think are of critical importance with respect to traveling and if any issues occur. So we will. Oh, right behind me. Okay. There we go. Okay, so EF Tours is the company, as I mentioned. Just a little bit about their experience. They've been around for a while. They're a very popular travel company with accreditation and a lot of different trips that happen yearly with them. So we'll skip. This is kind of a map showing where we'll be going. We're moving all over the country. Caribbean side, Pacific side. We land in San Jose. It's similar to the trip we took last time, but we're reaching more locations this time with this particular itinerary. And certainly stop me if you have any questions along the way, please. Okay, so it's a 9-day trip, 2 days of travel, and then in between that are the days for activities and the itinerary, so we'll go through those in more detail one by one. A big part of this itinerary and the trip is the immersion factor of students being able to be in these national parks, in these ecosystems. Specifically, we're focused on biodiversity, ecology, adaptations of plants and animals. It's one of the most biodiverse countries on Earth, and it's just a spectacular environment to directly observe the flora and the fauna and have students see all that. And I was really surprised when we went last time. These things aren't hiding. They're right there. You look up, you see a sloth, you see a toucan, you see things running around everywhere. There's just an endless variety of things to observe and to interact with for the students. It's just absolutely incredible. Other focuses would be conservation, sustainability. The people of Costa Rica are, that's something that's really important to them. And the tour guides really explain to us how they do things there to protect their ecosystems and their national parks especially. So a lot of hikes. We don't get quite that close. We did at a rehabilitation center with a sloth, one that was injured that they were helping out. Typically, they're pretty high up in the trees, but we have pretty good gear to see them with binoculars, and the tour guides sometimes have things to see them with. Toucans, yep. They're not too afraid of people. You can get pretty close to them. We saw a lot of them when we went zip lining last time. Amazing birds. And the capuchin monkeys, you got to watch out for them. I saw one steal food from the back of a tourist's pockets when he was sitting on a bench, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was amazing. He looked down, he went right down and grabbed it. They also jumped on our boat. We went on a little river tour, and they jumped on the boat to let us know that we were kind of getting into their territory a little bit. So they're pretty amazing. So the activities. Canopy tour up on I didn't include this, but there's a tram ride through the cloud forests, and then you get to the top of the mountain and you zip line your way down, and it's pretty incredible. And you're seeing a lot of things that you wouldn't see from the ground when you have this experience once you get the hang of it. This is something new for this year. We're going to take what they call a jungle safari crocodile tour. We saw them last time from a distance, but this time we're in the rivers. We're not getting out of the boat. I think some of the vendors might do that and interact with them, but for safety, we're going to stay in the boat and just watch them, and they're pretty amazing. This is something new also. We've added whitewater rafting to the itinerary, which is a pretty amazing activity. Haven't done this myself, and this is something that the students are pretty excited for. This is something pending. I wanted to add this. Growing up, climbing trees is one of my favorite things to do. I think it's important for folks to have that experience. So I saw this activity as a possibility. It's something new that they're going to add that they hadn't had before. It's like belay climbing with the harness and the ropes, if you know what that is, like rock climbing, but with trees, and you can go 40, 50, 60 feet high. None of these activities are mandatory if students certainly don't want to do them, but they're going to go and do a security safety check of this activity, and if it meets their safety requirements, they're going to let us know if it's something we can do. So that might be a possibility. The geothermally heated hot springs, this is something we didn't have last time. This is kind of like a naturally warm water that the students can kind of interact with, and there's a special type of mud there, I think. I'm not sure what that's all about, but we'll find out when we get there. It's a pretty popular destination. So we took an entire day. This is something that I specifically requested because we did this last time. We went to an island and were able to snorkel over a reef. This is a different location, and the students will basically have all day to see one of the most amazing ecosystems on Earth, which is the coral reef, and snorkel and get these waters are much more shallow than they were the last time we went, so the visibility is going to be great, and they're going to be able to see all the different species that exist in the coral reef on the Pacific side. And of course, a big part of this trip is also connected to the curriculums of foreign language, Spanish in particular. You learned a lot about the cultural history of Costa Rica, and a lot of us were picking up conversational Spanish as we went along. I asked specifically one of our Spanish teachers if she can join us to help facilitate that and help us learn, maybe a little more efficiently as we go on the trip, and she's agreed to do that. So that would be an amazing addition to help us kind of bring that out of the trip as well, the language and the cultural aspect. We're also going to, I scheduled a visit to a local school, and we're going to see how they do things there. I'm not sure which age group we're going to be visiting, but we're definitely going to spend some time in there and answer any questions they have for us and ask them questions about how school is for them and kind of get a perspective on what it's like in a different country. So we're pretty excited to add that as well. Okay, so just the basics, 9-day tour. I'll kind of skip over the specifics here unless you have questions. Once break starts, travel day there, travel day back, but we'll be back for school when vacation ends. So everything's included. Plenty of support on the ground from the tour guides, medical support. You're pretty much in contact with anybody you would need if anything arises, which is the experience we had last time. This is something students can investigate if they're interested in turning what they do there into a little bit of college credit. That's something that they can apply for when they get back. And that's something that's kind of an added bonus if students want to translate their experiences into that credit. Okay, so this is what I think is really important. We spoke at length about contingency plans if something happens. The world has been very chaotic lately, and what we have are plenty of options with EF. So option one, if for any reason, if anyone decides that the trip is something that we can't do, option one is to reschedule it. At any point, just pick a different date, option one. Option two, okay, pick a different country. Let's go somewhere else. That's fine too. And option three, for parents, if they purchase the Global Travel Protection Plus, they are completely covered. They can back out of the trip at any point and get everything back except for that small fee or whatever it is for the deposit for that. So the point is, we're not going to be in a situation where if we decide for whatever reason we can't go, it's going to be rescheduled, or we're going to have options to go somewhere else. So I think that's something that was reassuring for me to hear based on how chaotic the world has been, and you really don't know year to year what you're going to run into. So I think that's something that we have. Any questions about that in particular?
I had one.
Sure.
Are there parameters around when you are allowed to, reschedule a trip?
No. So the way it was explained to me is that
For any reason, you can
For
just
any
go,
reason.
we want to go
for
next
any
February.
reason, yeah, for any reason. I think they've learned from situations from other companies that this is something that's really important for us to have that flexibility. So it's something that's going to get worked at any point for any reason. Reschedule, different country, or if parents just want to back out completely, if they have that protection. Which is, really, it was a different company we used last time, but that was helpful for us. The previous company offered that to us, and we just kept rescheduling and rescheduling until we finally got to a year when COVID wasn't too big of an issue that we could finally go. So EF has that 100%.
So they've got so included in this price is trip cancellation and interruption.
So there are limits, just the general trip protection for the price.
Right.
There are more restrictions on that. With the $300 plan, that's kind of like the extra insurance that is for any reason, you get all of your money back minus, I would assume, the $300.
Okay.
So I am going to personally recommend, based on just experiences from the last 2 or 3 years, I'm going to say parents, if at all possible, get that protection money so that you are in no financial trouble if something happens. But going back to what I said previously, there's going to be a reschedule or a change in destination if they want to stay with the trip with what they've already paid. So,
Can I just,
sure.
can I just clarify what you're saying? So it says risk-free enrollment period. So what you're saying is at any point, like whenever this opens, like next year, whenever the dates are. So
Sure.
like you can cancel? Am I understanding?
So they have this small window from the time that the trip is, if the trip is approved. If parents want to enroll within the first couple of weeks, it's kind of like an incentive to just say, hey, if you decide within the first couple of weeks that you lose nothing at all. So that's kind of that initial enrollment period where they get 100% of their money back if they just decide, oh, well, we thought we want to go, but now we can't. But this is kind of the long term. Once you've paid, once we get to within a week, a couple of days of the trip, if a family says, okay, no, we can't do this for some reason, if they have that protection money, then it's basically a full refund minus the protection money. But even without that, I'm not sure what the cutoff is. There's a time period when parents can also look into that, but it's further back if they don't have the insurance.
Okay. I mean, that sounds great. If that's really, that sounds really good, and I think we want to use this company for everything we do.
Yeah, from what I've seen and heard, I haven't seen anything better than this.
Okay.
Any company you buy a ticket, if you wait till the last minute, there's usually some type of fee associated with that. But, so I think that seems to me pretty reasonable with the time that we have. And again, I know for sure Mr. Smelter's used EF, and I'm pretty sure other teachers here have used EF, and I've only heard good things. So. Yeah, Rachel Barnes maybe too.
Yeah,
to
London.
The
Yeah.
London trip was EF, and they were great.
Yep.
Yep.
Any other questions?
About the whole, yeah, I do actually. I, first of all, want to say I love the addition of the culture and language. I believe that was a question I asked
Yes, I remember.
last time.
I remember.
And I love that you put that in.
Yeah.
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 I just wanted to say I really appreciated that.
That's something, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, no, please.
Yeah, I would say, in general, that's my educational philosophy. I really enjoy connecting the dots between as many different subjects as possible, and this is a trip where you can really do that and work with my colleagues in the Spanish department, and, the amount of, the cultural information, the interaction is just amazing there. They do a really good job of that, and again, by the end of the trip, we were all kind of picking up a little conversational Spanish, which was great, so.
Oh, that's fantastic. And then the other thing I will just say, and I remember saying this last time, this is, in my view, a trip that does require a certain level of physical fitness.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's just something I'm just always curious about. And
Yes.
I don't want anybody not to go because of that, because there's so many other things
Correct.
to enjoy.
I did learn that firsthand when we were there. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of adrenaline. Everyone's pushing themselves pretty hard to get through all the activities, and then you kind of, after maybe day 2 or 3, you kind of, with the heat and humidity and some folks not hydrating enough, not intentionally, you just don't realize how much water you're losing doing all of this. So the good thing, learning from that experience, what I will keep a better eye on is making sure that students are very much hydrated, and we take periodic breaks, which we have the flexibility to do that with this itinerary. If we say, okay, we've got this schedule, but everyone needs time to just rest. You know, the sun is also a factor, sunburns, dehydration, all of it. So we have the flexibility to pivot and safety first. We did that last time. A couple students just weren't in a physically weren't in a place where they could continue with certain activities. So we had chaperones stay back with them at the hotel until they recuperated. So, yeah, we have that flexibility to keep an eye on that, because that is important.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a very physical trip. Yeah.
Thank you.
How many students is it slotted for?
So, starting off, we're a little late to the game with kind of advertising it. We're setting a number of about 40,
Okay.
35 to 40, based on interest and based on chaperone team and based on recommendations from input from the administrators and other experienced folks on field trips. Will maybe adjust that number if it gets
How many
higher.
chaperones?
So we have a 6-to-1 ratio.
Oh, 6 to 1.
Yeah, through EF, which
Oh.
is, we only require 10-to-1, but they're giving us 6-to-1.
Wow, that's great.
So the chaperones are rolled, their cost is rolled into,
Correct.
so they're not paying out of pocket?
No.
And then my other question was, how does this tie into our global studies program?
Good question. So the trip we took before was based on, I'm not an expert on the standards of that, Mr. Dixon would be the one to answer that, but based on what I was told by him and Mrs. Police, that it did meet the requirements for the Global Studies program. With this new itinerary, I wouldn't want to say the wrong thing. It seems like it would, but I can find that out.
So they can earn credit for this?
I would think so, because this is in a lot of ways is very similar to the World Strides itinerary, so I would imagine yes, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great.
And I just have a question.
Sure.
For fundraising, are you thinking about that?
Yes. So, they have a couple of options. They have kind of their own customized, I was described to me as similar to like GoFundMe, where the students can kind of individually link up, create, contacts where they can, raise the funds through EF. They also have a scholarship program where students can write essays and apply for additional funding. So those are options that are available. And last time, World Strides had a similar program. I didn't have any students pursue that, so I'm not sure how successful that is, but that's certainly something that we would want to try if a student has any issues. So if there are financial issues, we're going to try to address those for students.
But no, like, group fundraising like some of the other trips do?
Not in-house yet, but that's something we could explore if we find out that that's something that we're definitely going to need.
Okay. Anything else?
I have one more.
Jackie?
I'm on a roll tonight. The only thing I will say is, because I said the same thing about the Montreal trip, I think was the last one.
Sure.
Is, can we just make sure that Dr. Carpenter sets eyes on the policies for the cancellation?
Oh, absolutely.
It's not that I just want another set of eyes on it. That's a really broad
Correct.
explanation of, and I'm sure you've spoken to people who have given you examples, but through our experience, I feel like I'm a little gun shy.
I understand.
And I just want to make sure it is in writing.
Correct.
Because we had stuff in writing and it still didn't work. So I just feel more comfortable if he had eyes, or another set of eyes
Yeah.
on it that can really pinpoint, like, yes, it's in black and white, and
I could tell that the representative I'm working with was very sensitive to this.
Yeah.
And I think she would be overjoyed to speak with Dr. Carpenter about that and provide him
Sorry.
with whatever. Because I think they take it as a
wait.
point of pride, and
Yeah.
that it's not something they're trying to hide. So anything that is needed, we will definitely get that.
and I'm just trying to replicate what I've said to
Sure.
each of the people that have come to,
Sure, absolutely.
I won't forget.
No, and I completely
I'm
understand.
asking everybody, because
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, I understand.
all right, perfect. Thank you.
So last slide, and then any other questions that you might have. Just the final price is the $35.04, which again comes under the other quotes that I've seen from other companies. And there's a $100 discount with the early enrollment that's available. So that's kind of right out of the gate, a little bit of a discount. But relative to other trips, I think that's in range with what we do for international trips.
So I don't think you're on the agenda to vote tonight, and if we want Dr. Carpenter to see that, is it too late time-wise if we,
No, absolutely. Whatever process you're comfortable with is fine. You know, the more time we have to advertise, the better, but that's secondary to whatever concerns you have and you feeling good about the trip. So we can wait. You know, we did cut it a little close. We'll have about 2 weeks if we wait until next meeting to decide. But again, that's secondary.
you'll only have 4 days for that enrollment?
Oh, no,
date?
that will change. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay,
I informed
okay.
the representative that you might want more time. And so this was under the path if you wanted to decide tonight, but that will change if you don't. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So we could bring it back June 8th
Absolutely.
and vote that
Sure,
night?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, so next on the agenda is for us to set our summer meeting workshop dates. So we have the calendar of dates for the upcoming year, but we don't have summer dates set,
So, may I?
right? Or they're suggested?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
May I just?
Yes.
So when I created this meeting schedule, this was based on the tentative schedule that the school committee commits to, which is the 2nd and 4th, allowing for one meeting at least by July 15th when we need to have our accounting closed.
Yep.
And then 2nd and 4th here for Thursdays in August, but again.
We used to not have meetings at all in the summer.
So the August would be your workshop.
Okay. So I'll open it up for discussion. Any thoughts? Are we flexible? Do we feel that is there anyone on vacation for these dates?
I'm a big fan of the
I think it looks good.
Wednesdays.
Oh, we shifted to Wednesday, didn't we? I'm sorry, Tina.
No, I just said, I think it looks good, but I know Jackie likes Wednesdays.
That's only because if I go away for like a long weekend in the summer, leave Thursday evening, so that was the only reason. So, majority, whatever works for majority, and if I can attend, I can attend.
Would anyone be opposed to shifting those 3 dates to the Wednesday? So it would be July 12th, August 9th, and August 23rd?
The August one. Really?
Are we okay with that?
Why don't we just leave the July one to Thursday, on a Thursday? I mean, I don't know, whatever.
If we're good with Wednesdays, we'll just change that to Wednesdays for July and August, and then go back to our Thursdays in September.
Is that a general consensus?
Is that a general consensus?
Yes.
Ms. Gaines?
Can we just repeat the date? So we're basically going to take this Wednesday, so it'll be a date above. So July 12th, oh, you have them already?
Yep, July 12th, August 9th, and August 23rd.
Okay.
And then I'm sure Leah will update this and send it to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Leah.
It'll be in the folder.
Okay. It will be in,
Shared, you have to be shared.
it will be in a Google folder that she is creating for us for this upcoming year. So all of our documents will be in one place that we can access throughout the year. Ms. Seabrella?
Do we have a theme for our workshop? Do we?
I don't know. I don't think we have one set yet.
Okay.
Do we have ideas?
I was just trying to recall what our workshop was last year. Anybody? Terry?
Did I hear my name?
Madam Russell?
I'm in the second period now in my mind. No, I can't recall.
I can't recall.
I have to look
why
back.
Do you
that.
recall?
I didn't plan it, so I don't remember. I don't remember. I was
I planned
under
it and I don't remember
your,
it.
yeah.
What do you do with the workshops?
Well, we've done various things. We've gone over, we've done regional agreement workshops.
Yep.
We've done, it's kind of like whatever we need the most focus on, and we invite someone to come and talk to us. We've done school committee policies, we've done open meeting law, handbook.
So if you have any thoughts or ideas, maybe we can bring it back to the table.
Sorry. We set our goals.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Our goals will be a part of
That's
that.
kind of like what, but then we sometimes have something else that we do. Oh.
If you have any ideas, send them my way.
I have a question.
Ms. Games.
Well, maybe a suggestion. So I guess I would ask us to think about in this next school year, is there anything that we anticipate coming up that might, like, example, last year, I think it was housing. Or maybe there was, we had some things going on when I was the chair around anti-racism. And then, so I think, is there anything, just maybe think about that, going into the school year, is there anything that we can maybe foresee that we might want some education on?
Mr. Russell?
It just dawned on me.
Just take the minute.
Just having a little aphasia here. It's probably wise that we do look at some unfinished business, portrait of a graduate. The whole idea of where we are when that's plugged into the strategic plan. So I suggest that for an hour or so. Whenever we have this, most of us will be together and say, yeah, that's kind of where we are. How's that for a recovery?
That was good.
It sounds great.
I would also, I love that idea, and maybe having like Ann Schifferhaus come from the Housing Association and give us like a 30-minute, the state of the Cape, you know, what we're looking at, where we are, you know, we can ask her to do it by individual town or whatever, just kind of give us a quick 30-minute, 45-minute, whatever, you know, do a couple things, and that would help us wrap our head around what the current situation is, things we may encounter going into the year, things we need to be involved with, things we need to have our ear open for.
Yep.
I'd be very interested in that as an idea.
Yep. Good idea.
Dr. Carpenter?
We're also just tag teaming on what Terry said. We're sort of slated to have this upcoming year be our strategic planning year. So, you know, so we kind of carried over this past one while we were conducting the portrait of the graduate, and I think we could do a little refresher of the portrait of the graduate and start to have some conversations on the planning and process for how we want to engage the community in the next strategic plan.
Sounds good. Sounds like a full plate. And we're done. Okay. Any other questions about our summer dates or our school dates that we have? All right. Moving right along to our subcommittee assignments. So in your packet, there's a hard copy of all of the subcommittees and representatives and liaisons that we partake in. So if you could take a moment now or between now and next Thursday, which is June 1st, to get your preferences back to me, so then I can make sure everybody is on the subcommittees, representatives or liaisons they would like to be on. So then we can, then we can have them all set the next time that we come back, because I feel like there's a couple subcommittees that are going to have to do some work over the summer. So I think that the sooner that we set these subcommittees and representatives and liaisons, the faster we can get to some work that needs to happen. Betty? 3 or 4, all of them. Jess was on all of them her first year.
Yes.
Trim that down.
Jackie?
The only thing I would comment on is the 1, 2, 3, 4, like the far left column. Those are the, well, not warrant and payroll, but super eval, finance, negotiations, and policy sub. Those are like the big ones.
Yep.
So maybe pick the one that you're most interested in kind of diving into, and then representatives and liaisons, definitely, that's where you want to select one or two of each or whatever, and then when we give them to Mary, she'll go through them, just for you, Ryan, too, that, she'll go through them and then kind of sort it out and go, okay, I've got 6 people that want to be on this, and we like to try and balance 2 Chatham and 2 Harwich on each one, so she'll do that.
Yep, and so it's that left column, that's the priority and the regional agreement working group,
Yes.
too. Tina?
Just a question.
Miss Games.
I'm sorry, for Ryan, is there, can we give Ryan a list of the description so that he knows what he signed up for?
Yes. Can we?
Because I know we've got it somewhere, maybe in our, I think there
I
is
think
a
it's
list.
is it in our?
I feel like
Policy?
handbook.
So just making sure.
Between Leanne and I, we'll find it for you.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Or
On
you
that
can just
same
go in
note,
blind.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Russell.
yes, you are the Madam Chair now. I was looking at Jackie because I was so impressed.
I'm no longer Madame.
When Nancy was here with us, she and might have been Moa, we created a new member school committee handbook.
Yes.
I wonder if central office, is there a copy of that? I'm sure Nancy turned it in, and we probably should have 3 or 4 of them on hand. I think Ryan should
Yes,
have one as soon as you get him one.
yes. Thank you, Terry. Madam Chair?
Yes.
You reminded me, we also, back when I was chair, if we still are doing this, we also always, when a new member would come on, somebody would agree to be their mentor. So if we're still practicing that, I would recommend that perhaps Ryan could partner, not only read everything, but partner with somebody just for questions, answers, if you feel like you could use that.
Do you mean in general or on subcommittees?
I know in just general, like Jessica, I'm Jessica's mentor, so Jessica, when she has questions, we talk. And, yeah, and back when I was coming on, Sharon offered to be my mentor, so anytime that you've got questions, you've got somebody on the school committee that you feel comfortable with, saying, can I go have some coffee? I've got some questions, I need to understand how this works. So that's what I would, yeah.
Ryan, I'd be more than happy to confuse you.
Thank you very much, yeah.
Anytime.
Thank you. Yeah.
I feel like at one point we had said it was the vice chair.
Okay.
And also the new school member materials is on the website.
I
Okay.
have printed all that out. I didn't know how antiquated it was, if it was up to date, but I printed the handbook, everything out. It was online.
Okay,
I didn't know
good.
if it was up to date or not. But I
All
had it.
righty.
That'd be my.
No.
I think some of it's up to date.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I have all that printed out.
All right, any other questions on this right now? You can, if you need a digital copy, Leah can send it to you. You can also just take a picture of it and send it to me. And then we'll put it together for our next meeting. All right, moving on to approval of MRHS Interact Club donation to the Family Pantry of Cape Cod.
So, Michael's not here tonight, but, so in your packet, there's a letter from the advisor and leadership of the Interact Club. They have done a lot of fundraising this year, and they're requesting to make an impactful donation of $750 to the Family Pantry of Cape Cod. And because these are student activity monies, there needs to be school committee approval to have the donation come out of the student activities and get moved forward.
Great. I would entertain a motion. Ms.
I move to approve I move to approve the amount of $750 donation from the Interact Club to the Family Pantry of Cape Cod.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, we're good. Next is the approval of the MRHS Key Club donation to Sharing Kindness.
So same thing, we have a situation where the Monomoy High School Key Club has had a bake sale. at Harwich Town Meeting. They raised $453 and would like to make a donation to an organization for the suicide awareness walk.
Entertain a motion. Jess?
I move to approve the donation by the Monomoy Regional High School Key Club in the amount of $453.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Oh,
A question, does the motion need to say to sharing kindness?
May I amend my motion?
Did you amend your motion?
Should I start from the very beginning? Okay. I move to approve the donation from the Monomoy Regional High School Key Club in the amount of $453 to Sharing Kindness.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, great. So we have the first reading for the policy files that have minor changes for review. Do we have a policy committee, subcommittee member that, Betty?
That would be me.
Okay. So do you want to just do one, we'll go one at a time?
Yeah, for the, I guess remember which one this is. So for this first one, we just want to review this as a first read for this meeting and then bring it back to the future.
Okay.
Meetings for a vote. And it's a very minor change. It's adding the third paragraph that school committee members upon appointment or election shall within 30 days of taking office and every 2 years thereafter complete the Massachusetts Ethics Commission's online training program. Upon completion of the online training program, members shall provide notice of such completion to be retained for 6 years by the municipal or district clerk. As municipal employees, all school committee members shall receive a copy of said summary annually. And then there were 2 additions, the word there above for his, her, their, and we added gender identity in number 5.
Any questions or discussion? Lucy Ritlon?
I have a question only because I was just sworn in and need to take the Mass Ethics Commission online training again because we just got sworn in. And I asked her, do I need to bring her a copy? And she goes, nope, it just gets recorded online. And then I said, do I need to bring a copy to Leah? And she goes, well, that's not if Leah keeps track of it or not. So I'm questioning, members shall provide notice of such completion to be retained. To whom are we providing notice and what are we providing? Or is that is that a moot point now because it's all online? Should it say something like, members, completion shall be recorded online electronically and dispersed to municipal and district clerk?
Can you access that information with?
It's new now, you have to create an account, but we can see those things. It'll be the summary that you do every other year that I'll retain on paper copy, because that's a little bit different. But when you log in and create your account, we in the district can access and see who's doing that on our behalf.
Oh, good,
And the
okay.
town clerk doesn't need it either.
Right.
So I think we need to change this part of the policy.
Ms. Games?
Yeah, it has changed, and at the same time, I also am mindful that and I don't know how the school committee is, but things can get audited every now and then, so I think I would probably err on the side of caution if we have, whatever our documenting is, to keep that in place, just because things can get audited at any time, and it just saves a headache from having to go in these extra steps. So that's just my only comment.
I was just going to say, so what Julie said is you don't need to bring me a physical copy. We have a copy online. So if they were audited, they have a copy, an electronic copy.
And thank you for clarifying that. It's actually, for the school committee, or at least this was what I learned back from our town clerk in Harwich, they're not responsible for our records. Leah is. So Julie doesn't need it, but Leah does. Leah has to have some type of recording that we've done this, but I know that you can pull it up on the online thing. So Leah is our clerk.
Leah is our clerk, but Julie said I do not have to bring a physical copy because she has it.
Oh, okay.
Because she has it electronically. The town does keep it.
Okay.
They do keep track of it in case they're audited. But maybe what we could do is have you speak with Julie, and between the two, find out what that protocol is. I mean, honestly, you can print it out and give it to Leah, but I think where they're trying to move towards the electronic world. I just was looking at shall provide notice of completion, but it didn't say to who. So that's where I started with this. And then because I just had the conversation with Julie at the town office, it was good timing.
Ms. Gray?
I wonder if we can just modify that sentence to say including online recording or online form, or however we want to word it, but just include that piece rather than remove the old. But it will depend on the conversation.
We could do that. I also wonder, and I don't know, maybe it's a little legwork for Leah or for me, or for the policy subcommittee, because when Ryan was just talking about it, he's already done it for his other job.
Right.
I do it for 3 different places, so I don't know if that's necessary, but I think we should know the answer to that, because for some of us that sit at this table, we do that for other things. So is it okay to just do it once, or do we have to do it separately? Because I know on the certificate we say, I say, Dennis Yarmouth Regional School System. So I don't know, but I think that's a question we could ask.
Yeah.
I don't know, would that be okay with?
Actually, it's a good question, and I will tell you, because I work for the state, they have to have their own, so I have to do it again for the state.
I'm afraid that's the answer.
Yeah, I think that is the answer. I think that is the answer, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We should confirm that. So do you want to bring that back to policy and just clean that up a little bit? All right, great.
Sorry.
That's okay. So then, the next policy files with minor wording updates, the first one being the ACA, non-discrimination on the basis of sex.
We actually skipped one in the first reading, which is
Oh.
on the back of the one we just looked at,
Oh.
staff personal security and safety.
Oh, sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay.
Number 1, the words well-being were taken out and replaced with the word safety. And then number 3 was added, school employees, their families, and members of their household are eligible to use confidential services provided by the municipality's employee assistance program.
Any discussion? Ms. Seabright-Lahong?
Minor edit, or period at the end.
I just did that too.
So are we okay if we change that to a period to bring this back as a second reading next time?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, now moving on to ACA.
So this is a group of policies that just have minor changes. Do you want me to go through all of them page by page?
Does anyone need Betty to go through these page by page? No? Have we reviewed them?
Doing a pretty good job on my own right now.
Any questions or discussion? So basically, you're changing some wording and then adding procedures that are already in place.
And adding additional categories for some of the discrimination laws, the hair, housing, things like that.
Okay. Are we okay to bring this back for a second reading? Do you have questions?
Nope.
We're good?
Good.
Okay.
Any questions? All right.
So we will bring, so you'll take the BBA/BBBB back to policy, and the rest of them can come back for a second reading.
Great.
And then policy files for removal.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes. Oh, sorry, Christina.
Sorry. I just wanted to ask if, since the title is non-discrimination based off sex, and we are now including sexual orientation and gender identity, should that wording be changed for clarity? Because it's no longer sex, it's more on identity?
Good question.
That is a good question.
So non-discrimination on the basis of identity?
Something along those lines. I know it doesn't cover all aspects of identity, but seeing as we're dealing with sexual orientation and gender identity, or gender identity, that wording is in there, since it's outside the realm of assigned sex at birth, that type of thing. It's more on gender and identity. Maybe it should be non-discrimination on the basis of identity.
So I think we should bring that back to the policy sub, just because it might be the legal policy file that's coming from the state. So let's check on that, but that's a good thought. Thank you. All right. So now...
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just for clarification, so file ACA is going to go back, correct? And the rest of them are moving forward?
Correct. No.
No, file BB.
No.
Oh, wait, did I get the wrong one? Hold on.
There's two are gonna go back now.
Right.
So ACA will go back, and then also the first one we went over, the
Yeah, ACA, that's what I was looking at.
BB.
Okay, so ACA is going back. Okay.
Yep.
And then this one, all right.
Okay, and then the files for removal?
These are all just outdated, and they are put into other policies that are in existence.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Any questions, discussion? Okay. So do we need a vote to remove those?
We do, I believe.
We do. So I'll entertain a motion for the policy files to be removed.
I'd like to make a motion to remove policy files BEDB, agenda format, BEDH/E, guidelines for public comment, BK, school committee memberships, JKA, corporal punishment.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Great.
You also have,
Potential votes for the other ones?
yeah, one of them is only a content change, it's just a period.
Oh, so we could probably vote on that one?
The second pack.
GBGB,
Oh, again,
Do-
but that's not down here.
the packet that begins ACA, so everything that's in that packet was on for a potential vote. These were the no content changes.
Oh, okay. So we could take the ACA file, because that's going to go back, and then,
It's just the GBGB, which isn't under potential vote.
No, but the second.
what all of these are.
Are you looking for files? It's BBBA/BBBB going back, and file ACA, so it's just those two going back to policy.
Right, so we have all of the other files that's in the packet behind the ACA, the
Yes.
CCB, those are all up for a potential vote tonight?
First reading. So the second we can bring it back.
The staff.
Well, because they're just content changes, we could have voted on them tonight, I think.
I mean, we can. Yeah, maybe,
Or we just bring them all back.
yeah, we can.
Next time.
Yeah, we can on the minor wording. If everyone is in agreement, yes, we can pass those tonight.
This one,
Skip that
the one
one.
that's in the packet.
Yeah.
Except for
Minus
the
that
first
one.
one,
Yep.
because that has to go back.
So if it's,
The
yeah,
ACA,
Correct.
but this is the one I was talking about. This we could vote on if it had been on as potential vote, but it is not on potential.
Oh, you're talking about personal security?
Because it's a first reading.
Right.
But you can, if everyone's in agreement, because it's only a period, you could vote on it.
Would we like to vote on that one?
Sure.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to vote for file GBGB.
I move to approve the first reading of GBGB Staff's Personnel Security and Safety Draft. The only change is a comma to a period at the end of section 3.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Great. Okay. Are we clear on our files now?
I'm clear.
I think so. Whew, it's a doozy. All right, moving on to subcommittees, representative and liaison reports, where I think we covered that, unless, Betty, you have anything more to add?
One more request from the policy subcommittee is to look at our policies and make a language change where they say he, she, they could be he, she, they, or take it all out and just say they throughout all of our policies to be more inclusive going forward. So that was a discussion we thought we'd bring to the table.
Oh, to do all the other ones?
That was a vote,
Okay. So would those all have to be changed and then brought back to us?
I don't
To
know
vote on?
That
That's a-
needs a vote where it's not content related, it's just
Yeah.
a word.
We should vote on a period.
Well, this is a
So-
great point, you're right, so yes. And there we go.
Or we should check on that, because maybe it could be as we're editing them.
Well, that's what we're thinking, not
Yeah, we
to
make sure
vote
instead of to
overall,
try to
but-
just dig through every single policy we
As we
have.
review to make the.
Not that it's not important, I'm not saying that's not important, but. Ms. Gaines?
Yes, and I think we also discussed about doing them across the board. Yeah, I think we did talk about doing it as a blanket, all of them, not as they come up, but as, I misunderstood, the whole thing.
But
It's
do we
like-
have
it's a
to
little
vote
bit
on
like-
that?
It's a little bit like select board, like Harwich has now changed from Board of Selectmen to select board, so they now have to go through and clean all that up. Anything that's in their policy, the charter, everything, now has to be changed to select board. So that's what we're recommending.
So, since it's not a vote for tonight, we could bring it back next time to have that blanket vote to change that throughout our policies?
But you'd have to bring it in as a discussion.
Yep.
Madam Chair, there will be pages and pages of that correction.
But we wouldn't have
Why
to,
would you say henceforth? I often wanted to say that.
that's right, that was a really good time
I've used
to use
things
it.
alone.
Yes,
What are you
you've been
trying
holding on to
keep
that
yourself back? No?
It's a great question. Madam Chair, it's a very good question, but I think if the goal is to be inclusive, we just blanket it. And it's, from what I understand, somebody, and I don't know, this was talking with our staff liaison, Melissa McGuire, that we can just go in and do a little, I don't know, there's something you can do to add things.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's just a matter of going through our policies and just adding they or changing it to they. It's just to be more inclusive.
Find them a place.
Yep. But we do have to vote on it.
I would say yes.
We need to discuss it.
So we'll add it to our discussions for next time, and we will discuss and then vote.
Great.
Sound good? Now, I don't know, we have to go back here, because we do have some potential votes.
We have a vote required minus the ACA, because there was a question on the title of if we could change the title of the policy. Christina wanted to talk
So
about
then,
that.
we have a potential vote for CCB, GBA, EEO, sorry, GBA, GBEC, GCA, GCF, HB, JICA, JIH, and JLCB. So, we have a potential vote, so I'm going to entertain a motion. I've never had so many policies in one packet. Ms. Seabrett Long.
I'm just wrong.
You are, I know.
I'm wearing bright pink, I don't know what more you want from me. I move to approve the following policies with content changes, with no content. I retract my motion. I move to approve the following policies for minor wording updates and no content changes as follows. CCB, staff relations, GBA, EEO, affirmative action, GBEC, drug-free workplace, GCA, professional staff positions, GCF, professional staff hiring, HB, negotiations, legal status, JICA Student Dress Code, JIH Searches and Interrogations, JLCB Inoculations of Students.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Great. So we're really only bringing back 2. Okay.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you.
All right, so we will bring that back to discussions next time. Dr. Carpenter?
Just 3 quick things. First, next Thursday, June 1st, is convocation. We're bringing it back. I guess during COVID, convocation went away and we sort of wrapped it into the graduation ceremony. So we'll be having a separate night for convocation. So 6:30 on Thursday night, which should then make the graduation ceremony go a little quicker without the convocation sort of wrapped into it. Graduation is Saturday, June 3rd, and then last but not least, the Celtics will win tonight. I'm putting out positive vibes into the universe.
Okay.
Henceforth, I agree.
Any questions? All right. So it looks like we have completed all of our action steps. Presentation of warrants.
Do we have
Quick question.
Yes,
Do we go to graduation?
we are invited.
We have an invitation.
Yes.
I have a wedding the 3rd.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's not a required.
Okay.
It's not
Yeah.
required.
Sure,
It's
okay.
you're invited.
You're okay.
All right.
Yeah, it's not a requirement. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's just in.
But it is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next year.
We have what, next year?
Next year. Okay, so presentation of warrants, we will check with Michael. And probably do that online. Entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. We adjourn at